The Finance Minister Mathias Cormann joins me. Minister, by 2 o'clock this afternoon, there were 234,000 businesses register for the JobKeeper payment. It shows you just how much it was needed.
Yes, I mean, business from around Australia are embracing this opportunity, and it's exciting to see. It's heartwarming to see, because of course the reason why we're doing this is because we want to keep as many businesses as possible in business, and we want to keep as many Australians as possible in jobs and connected to their business. I mean, we did have to make some very tough decisions as a nation to protect people's health, to save lives, to slow down the spread of this virus. We've had to close down large sections of our economy, and yes, a lot of businesses and a lot of Australians, working Australians, had a very, very negative impact on their livelihoods as a result. And so this is something that we need to do in order to help support Australians through this transition, so that all Australians have the best possible opportunity to be successful on the other side, to participate in a strong recovery on the other side.
You use the term heartwarming. It really is, and I saw it at a very small level this morning, but a carpenter, a good friend of mine, showed up this morning with the young apprentice. He'd laid him off yesterday. He said yesterday was his last day. After the announcement, the young kid, 18 years old, back at work today. It is heartwarming.
Well, I got to say, I mean, in politics, it's not often that you get friendly, positive, supportive messages, but I've been getting a lot of feedback from businesses large and small, from people working for businesses large and small right around Australia, who really have embraced this. And, you know, I mean, businesses actually do want to hold on to their employees through this period. Businesses overwhelmingly want to do the right thing, and they understand that they need their employees on the other side if they want to be able to bounce back strongly. And this really has given business around Australia the confidence, even though it will still take until early May for some of these payments to be able to flow. It has given business overwhelmingly the confidence to hold on to their workforce, to rehire perhaps workers that had already been let go since 1 March. So it's great to see how this has been embraced.
Yeah, and I've got to say it's encouraging as well to see the Labor Party welcoming it. They're not trying to pick holes in it. And I think that most Australians want to see that level of bipartisanship right now. This is, as the Treasurer puts it, it's a Team Australia moment. We've all got to get on board, and not just the social distancing, but, you know, whether it's the banks and their role in terms of loan relief and so on. It's not going to be easy to get through it.
Well, I mean, we are all in this together. We do have to pull together. We are facing a significant health challenge, and we're facing a significant economic challenge. And, you know, we want to save lives, we want to save jobs, and we've got to work on all of this together. And, you know, we're obviously very grateful that the opposition, the same as they did last week when we legislated the first stimulus and safety net package, that they've again come on board and, essentially joined with us in a very unified way to support this necessary package.
And given their support, I know the ATO can already get going, get cracking in terms of getting the mechanisms in place, but given the Labor support, how soon would you like to see it passed in Parliament? Can it be done by next week?
These conversations are happening now between the government and the opposition, and also will take place with the representatives of other parties in the Parliament. Certainly, we believe that we will be able to finalise the legislation, certainly over this next week, and hopefully sometime next week on a day to be determined, after some further consultations, we'll be able to bring the Parliament together in a much reduced form and get this dealt with.
Just, a few weeks ago, those in the government were saying that we're not going to go down the UK path in terms of a subsidy program and so on. Things change fast. I think the government has got a lot of credit for reacting and being flexible to this situation with this particular package.
Well, we haven't gone down the UK path, and I would say I'm not sure how far advanced the UK is in implementing what they said they would implement. What we've always said is that in order to be able to deliver these sorts of supports like the JobSeeker payment and now the JobKeeper payment efficiently, effectively, at the scale required, you need to be able to do so using your existing systems and architecture. And that is what we're doing. I mean, the JobSeeker payment is being provided through our social services portfolio and our welfare system, and indeed the JobKeeper payment is being provided through the tax system. And yes, the tax office is working furiously in making sure that all of the processes and practical arrangements are in place. There are significant logistics involved in organising these sorts of payments for up to 6 million working Australians. So all of that is underway now. But you're right. I mean, of course. I mean, when this whole process started, we didn't expect that we would be where we are today. I mean, this has been a rapidly evolving situation, both in a health sense, but also in terms of our assessment of the economic response required, given the evolving nature of the economic impact. So this is, I would never have thought that I would be involved in putting together a package of this size to support the economy, to support business, to support jobs. But here we are. It was required. It was required to ensure that we are in an appropriately strong position on the other side.
Yeah, well, I don't think many people at Rushcutters Bay would have thought a few weeks ago that they'd be moved on by the police, but that's what we're seeing. These are extraordinary times. Most Australians, though, are heeding these warnings, aren't they, and staying home. That's the reality right now. And even though we see these extraordinary images of police moving people on in the park.
Well, I think that people understand that the health mission is to save lives and that we need to slow down the spread of the virus. We might not be able to stop the spread of the virus, but we've got to slow it down to ensure that the flow of patients into our health system is manageable, and that in particular those most vulnerable Australians are able to be appropriately prioritised and get the appropriate high levels of care. And of course the economic mission is to ensure that all Australians are appropriately supported through the transition, and that we can be in the best possible position for strong economic recovery on the other side.
And in that context, are you open to Virgin's request for a $1.4 billion loan to get to that other side?
Look, we're not going to talk about individual businesses, but what I would say in a general sense is that we have, of course, provided industry-wide support to the aviation sector, about $1 billion worth of competitively neutral industry-wide support through fee waivers and the like. The aviation sector was one of the first sectors most severely impacted. I mean, both Qantas and Virgin will benefit, of course, from the JobKeeper payment. That is, I believe, we'll be providing them with significant additional support. But I can't say, I certainly can't say, as I'm speaking to you here right now, and it's not our plan to take equity in an aviation business. I mean, that is not where we're at. But we are, of course, continuing to assess what appropriate supports in a competitively neutral basis might be able to be provided moving forward.
But not that equity status, because it's interesting. Qantas, as soon as they heard this Virgin request, Qantas said that they'd want a loan of more than $4 billion.
Well, look, we don't take sides. We make judgments, essentially, on an economy-wide and industry-wide basis. We don't pick winners. We don't pick sides. We make judgments based on what is good policy, and that is what we'll continue to do here. And look, we do want competition between two strong and viable airline businesses on the other side. What that will look like on the way through, well, we'll have to see how that plays out.
Finally, I know you've got a busy afternoon. One last question on the debt scenario. As Finance Minister, obviously, we're in extraordinary times. Give us a sense of your thinking on this. The whole notion of a surplus has completely gone out the window. We're facing debt now for the foreseeable future. Is it manageable? Is it still comparable to other developed nations? Not bad?
Well, it is manageable, and let me just say, I mean, I've got a great sense of relief that over the last 6.5 years that all of my colleagues have been so supportive and so focused and so engaged with the Prime Minister, the Treasurer and I in repairing our budget. I mean, we always said over that 6-year period that we needed to ensure that our budget was in a stronger, more sustainable position to ensure that we could deal with any headwinds and challenges, external challenges coming our way. We never would have expected anything of this sort of magnitude, but we did go into this challenging period in a comparatively stronger economic and fiscal position than we otherwise might have, and in a stronger economic and fiscal position than others. We are in a position to afford what we're doing now, and I mean, if we didn't make these sorts of judgments now, we would be putting ourselves in a weaker economic and fiscal position over the very long term. We are absolutely convinced of that. There is really no alternative to what we're deciding to do here.